quick demonstration video of how to install our new lighting hanging system for Intravision Lights. Pretty simple, consists of two parts. We have the rail that attaches to the underside of the light rack, and then we have the bracket which connects directly to the light. To give a quick overview, we have the rail that attaches to the underside of the light rack with self-tapping screws. And there's also a rubber gasket between the light rack and the rail itself to give space for zip ties and other mounting ties to the light rack, so you can take care of your plumbing and all that stuff. So the only tools needed to install would be a driver with a hex fitting on the end, and the bolts that we supply are a 14x1 self-tapping screw, as well as this washer. The way it works is pretty simple. We have the rail. You can pre-assemble the self-tapper and the rubber washer before you can go up the ladder. And you see that all three are in line on the rail itself. And then you go up and you just bolt it in place. Now, from an install standpoint, always start from the middle and you work your way out to the outside. So it should line up that this center hole is the middle of the rail. But then from there you work your way out. You'll probably have about an inch, maybe 3/4 of an inch of gap between the end of the light rack and the rail, but that's fine. There's lots of space for the Intravision Lights. It won't fall out by any means. And you just butt them up side by side. So I'm going to quickly show you how to put one of these in place. So I've prepped my rubber washers on the rack, the rail itself. So I'm going to open my driver. Okay, so when installing these, it's pretty simple. You can do one of two things. You can pre-drill your holes like we have here, or you can just go straight up with the self-tappers and use, what I do is use the outside edge of the light rack to keep everything kind of squared together. Start in the middle. Now what I did is I took a little bit of extra care to not over tighten the screws because we don't want to compress the rubber gasket too much. It is a dense rubber gasket, so it won't compress too easily, but these drivers are pretty strong. So what you'll do, take the phone here for a second, you'll notice that we leave a gap. This rubber gasket leaves a gap for any zip ties that need to get through, allowing you to continue to mount to your light rack without any sort of obstructions. So the next part is you need to mount this plate to the end of the Intravision light. There are no additional screws needed. We're going to use existing screws that are already on the light. I suggest that you use a low power drill with an extra long Phillips bit. In this video I'm just going to use a handheld screwdriver and fast forward the video. Here we go. So as you can see, we use the two existing screws that are already included. We do not need, nor should you remove this outside screw with this little kind of round cut in there. There's just no need to remove it, and also make sure that the top cap stays in place when you're doing this, modification. But once you've done that, it's pretty simple. We just hang it up on the rack. And that's it. That's how we hang our Intravision lights. This job is much easier, obviously, with two people. One person prepping the rails, the gaskets, handing the rail to the person in the ladder, screwing it in. You also have a crew of people, like I said, with a low-powered electric drill with a extra long Phillips tip bit on it, prepping the lights at the same time. But that's basically it. This is how we hang Intravision lights.